if you register in a particular place and you move to another place, the Electoral Act clearly specifies what you need to do. You can transfer your registration status. All she needs to do, for example, in her case, is to apply to the Resident Electoral Commissioner in the FCT, giving all the necessary information as to why she had moved, what were the details of her previous registration, which polling unit, and where is she now located. Once she does that, application is verified, her details will be transferred to her new place, and then we will issue her with the permanent voter's card in the new place. But unless and until she follows that legal requirement of applying and having it properly changed, we may not be able to replace the voter's card. So it's very easy. There is sufficient time for people. If you have moved, please apply to the Resident Electoral Commissioner in your current state, giving all the information. If you need further information, go or send queries to our offices. They will give you the details of what is required.
It can be done online.
Regrettably, it can't be done online. Again, for the same challenges that I have pointed out, the infrastructure is not there. We are doing our best to have the in-house capacity, but many people in different places may not be able to do that.
Just online online being that the application be done online?
Online.
No,
Fill the form and submit online.
There is a limit to what you can do online. You can send, we have a website, very robust. You can we have email addresses for the Resident Electoral Commissioner. You can send application online, giving all the details. That can be done. But to have the application form online and to complete it, which is what is normally meant by online, to do transaction online, we do not have that capacity yet.
Why? Because there are some who are asking that INEC, when you came on board, you came on board with a notion to bring in technology, a lot of it.
And we are bringing technology. Rome is not built in one day. What we met and what needs to be done to improve upon it is really challenging. We are doing our best. I cannot sit here and lie to you. There are things we've done, there are things we have not done, but we are working on them.
Okay, so let me take you a bit back to personnel. You've talked about INEC working and all the things you're trying to bring in. Henry Kene Agapson says the review of salary package of INEC staff was on board before you came in. What's the situation now?
Well, I don't know what he meant it was on board. As far as I know, when we came into INEC, there was nothing on the ground about review of salary structure of INEC. There were promises. There was an engagement with the National Assembly about the need to have a separate salary structure for INEC. But there was no proposal. There was no drafted format. But when we came in, we engaged a management consulting firm as part of our process of restructuring and reorganizing of INEC, which we have now virtually completed. And one aspect of the terms of reference of that consulting firm is to advise INEC with regards to a new salary structure. They have given us that proposal. We have looked at it as a commission. We are finalizing it. The next step is to engage government and the National Assembly with a view to recognizing the need to have a separate salary scale with INEC. We've commenced some preliminary discussions on that, and we hope that before 2015 we may be able to have that. But the issue of review of salary structures in this country is always contentious and controversial, and we are trying to be careful and methodical in the ways in which we address this. But we are committed to bring in substantial improvements to the salaries and the emoluments of INEC staff. They do a specialized job, a very hazardous job, and they require a lot of motivation and incentives to be able to do it creditably. I think nobody can doubt that fact. The challenge is how fast we will be able to put these things in place.
Do you think that INEC is sufficiently independent?
I think that INEC can be more independent than it is now, but I think that INEC is now substantially much more independent than any previous commission before. In terms of funding, for example, you know, we are independent, much more independent than any previous commission. Once our budget is appropriated, it is released to us. There is no question or threat of mopping up our funds. The law protects our fund. We are more or less a first-line charge. So once our budget is approved in the Appropriation Act, it is released to us. We have not had any challenges in that regard, and with that relative independence, you know, certainly it's a remarkable improvement. Right. But then the challenge is getting the funds you require. And in this regard, we do appropriate engagements with government, and we also do appropriate engagements with the National Assembly so that our needs will be understood and so that what we require should be given to us.
Okay. Many others want to know, what is the status of the registration of APC?
We have received application for the registration of 2 categories of APC. There is an APC that wanted to be registered as a new political party, I think about 3 parties, and as you know, there is a case in court now with regards to that, and I don't want to say much about that. But there is also an application from a group of parties that want to merge into one party called the APC. We've received their application. It's a routine matter in INEC now, the issue of registration of political parties. So we are addressing that matter routinely. At the appropriate time, hopefully soon, we will make an announcement of our decision as to whether they have met the requirements or not.
Okay. Aisha and Abiodun also want to know, this continuous voter registration exercise that you want to start between July to September, will it capture those who had never registered before?
Yes. Actually, the whole purpose of continuous voter registration is to provide an opportunity where those who have become 18 years since the last registration could come and be registered and be put on the register. You know, so it's really the opportunity for people. What we want to stop doing is what was done in the past, where it's only on the eve of election that you will come and do a national massive registration of voters, you know, or do a new register almost every time before an election. Now we have a good database. All we need to do is to keep on updating it, and we can update it systematically as time goes on. So the whole purpose of putting in place a mechanism for continuous voter registration is to allow people who have become 18 years since the last registration to now come and register. But we also want to use it as an opportunity to redress some of the some of the inadequacies that we have identified with the existing register. As I have said, we found out that there are people who have been registered, whose details are on the register, but whose, for some odd reason, their photographs are not clear enough. So for those people, we wouldn't want to waste money and produce a permanent voter's card for them. We think we should give them an opportunity to come to these centers, you know, and to have their details taken again so that they can have this information.
What do you think is your greatest challenge looking at 2015?
I think the greatest challenge is to keep on improving on logistics and to also keep on engaging the political parties, to have them to keep on changing the mindset that they traditionally bring into politics, which is the mindset of winning at all cost by hook or by crook. We are doing our best, you know, to have guidelines to entrench trust and confidence of all stakeholders. You know, we are very transparent. We've done everything to be non-partisan and impartial, you know, and we want to build trust and confidence because that is what is important in terms of the credibility of an electoral process. So it's a very challenging work, and that's what
you mentioned logistics again. Why do you think logistics is a particular problem? Because a host of people will say, is it because we have to print our ballot papers abroad?
No. The key challenge with regards to logistics, frankly, is one, infrastructure, and two, training, in terms of what our staff